I guess we should start. Yeah, this is really the last breakout session. You guys are exhausted. I don't know what to do. I can read the menu of the dinner and it will it will be the same for but I know this topic is hot and I will introduce myself. My name is Avi Rosenfeld. I'm running a line of business called Foresight in a company called Panaya. We provide solutions for developers on Salesforce and architects and admins that develop and test. So we make their life easier. Quite cool stuff. Today we will talk on a general use case that of course we deal with that with our customer on a day-to-day basis, but migration to Flow, the reason why and how. I live in Israel. I flew yesterday. To some of you I met in the party. I'm 4 children, beautiful, various ages. I don't know how it happened. I drive motorbikes. What else? I play squash to stay young. And yes, and I like to work in the Salesforce community, the Salesforce environment. It's the second company that I'm working on Salesforce environment. The first one also was a great success. We made an OEM with Salesforce to combine the solution, visual remote assistant called Taxi. It's part of the Service Cloud. And today we also are working strongly on the Salesforce environment. Don't hesitate to stop me for any questions. From the background, don't forget that I asked you for some picture I need for the team. And about the topic. So it's a hot topic. There was also a session this morning with Barry and Angus here that spoke about Flow to the future. I think Barry and Angus took it from a more practical, tactical view. I will talk to you about more holistically about the approach we should take with the way we can migrate workflow and process builder to Flow. There are several approaches to take, and we will try to cover that. First, why we need Flow. We need to cover, and probably most of you understand that, but still important to speak about it. The target Flow architecture. What's the timeline, where we are on the roadmap. The approaches, there are several approaches. We see that from customers. There are several approaches to migrate, to go through the migration process. And then we will offer a 4-step re-implementation process that take advantage of the situation that maybe some think we got lemons, but we can make lemonade out of it. So yes, we need now to stop one process that we used to work with flows with workflow automation with process builder. We must now go and change the way we used to work, but there are tons of benefits, and let's not lose the opportunity to do things right and fix the entire org and prepare it for the future. So we will show you a 4-step approach that we take with our customers, and we do that, and we see fantastic results. So why do you need flows? Sorry. Why do you need flows? Anybody wants to think about some reason? For? To automate, of course. But there are automation today, there are systems for automation. The workflows and process builder flows are better. They're better in performance. Performance tests conducted by Salesforce for quite some time indicate that flows can improve performance by 10 to 20 times over workflows and process builder. That's super significant. They do the move because it's better technology. Second is functionality. Flows include multiple functionality that you don't have on workflow and process builder. And at some point, we need to include those functionality for variable record can be identified, processes. So it's things that we need to do in our org in order to get it done, to get it better. Architecture. According to Salesforce, Flow is better architected. We know it is. To meet the increasing functionality and extensively requirement of Salesforce user, it's becoming more and more complex. You need more efficient tool to manage the automation. We see that every day. If not, your technical depth is going to increase, and you can't work with the workaround. You need to do it right. And most importantly is the future development. Salesforce announced that the future no-code automation is Flow. It means that any development of new feature will be around flows, and you can't stay behind. At some point, it will be cut off, and this is the timeline. In summer 22, now it was released. The Migrate to Flow tool support workflows rules came available. It's a good tool, came by Salesforce. We'll talk about it. And then by winter 23, there will be a turn-off of creating new workflow rules. From that point, in winter 23 in October this year, there will be no ability to create new workflows. Same for Process Builder. There will be a new Flow tool, Migrate to Flow tool from Process Builder to Flow. It's not available yet. It will be available by the end of this year. And by spring 23, which is really the cut time for everybody, they will turn off the ability to create new process builders, and that's it. So at some point in 2025, there will be no ability to end of support at all, but you won't be able to develop automation from mid next year unless you are moving your automation to Flow. So this is the ride, this is the pain. We all understand what we need to do, and it's important. When you look today about the usage of automation, you see quite a scary picture. From our customer, we have quite a large base in Panaya Foresight. You see that 54% of our customers still using workflow rules, 33% using process builders, and only 13% using flows. It means that a lot of migration work should be done. Anybody wants to share about the situation in his org, or do you see a different picture? Similar, okay. So you confirm what I see, and that means that we all need, in light of the timeline I showed, in light of the reason, the performance, the coverage, the capacity of flows over the oldest technology, there is a work to be done. Now there are 4 approaches to do the migration process. One approach is sit and wait. Some take it. Keep all the workflow and process builder for now. When implementing new automation, consider using Flow, and let's pray that things will still working, but I'm putting that, it's not a joke. We see some customers taking this approach, so we try to convince them to act differently. Approach 2 is go with the minimum effort. And you know, we can accept that for now. It means that you do one-by-one migration of all automation into Flow, not comprehensively. You take it one by one. You use the migration to Flow tool that's already released by Salesforce, also only for workflow, not for process builder. They don't have the tool for process builder, but for workflow. It's quick and easy to use. Someone asked me, how's the tool? Some of the architects around, I told them it's a good tool, but to do it one by one, not holistically. It's a good tool to use. Functionality is unchanged. You do a simple cut and paste and moving workflow to Flow. It's a process, but you can do it one by one. The testing, it doesn't automatically deactivate all automation before a user has a chance to review. You need to review that as well. So testing needs to be approached separately. We also have a solution that is called risk-based testing. So we we can scope your testing only on the element that are impacted by the change. We can talk about it separately. Approach 3 is clean. Clean is good. You take advantage of the change, you are reviewing your automation, and you clean. We call it clean your conscience. It's clean your org. It's not a complete set, but you start looking at things more holistically. You understand there is an event here that you need to react to. You are getting your automation in a row to understand it, and you clean some of it. You try to identify the automation that are irrelevant or not in use, and you review the automated processes with the business users to see if there are additional automation that are not needed. But the most and recommended approach to do it right is the re-implementation approach. And there are rule of thumb for that, we will talk about it. But in large organizations that we are working with, what we do is we take the org, we are mapping the entire automation and their business logic. It's complete view of their metadata dependency and impact analysis. We identify the most efficient way to merge automation or to clean the unused automation. Look at existing Apex trigger to see if any of those can be turned into flow. And then plan the expected behavior, defining and building test cases and use cases, and we document the entire process to duplicate that. So we automate the process and do it again. And this is a holistic approach. We will talk about the benefits. So to migrate or to re-implement? So that's the question. Migrate, do the minimum needed, or do holistic approach that will change and re-implement your entire org. The rule of thumb at the moment, if your org is small, is not too complex, if you don't have too many workflows, go with the migration to flow tools. It's efficient, you do it one by one, you will make the work done. And Barry and Angus talked about it. If you have a big and complex organization, you need to consider the re-implementation approach. And I'll talk about the benefits and take advantage of the situation to organize and architect and clean and remove your technical debt and remove all the redundant automation and build your org to meet future requirements, because it's only going to be complex and complex, more clouds, more complexity, more rules. You need to know your org better. So the benefits are for the re-implementation approach. First, removal of your technical debt. This is problem all of us have. When we run to develop something and we don't have time, we do shortcuts, we always remain behind some technical depth. With clear understanding of the re-implementation, when you do a full mapping of your org, with all the automation, you know how to remove all the technical debt from your org. Clear architecture for future changes. Flow will become the main component. You need to understand that. That will be the way to control your org. You need to build the right architecture for future enhancement. So you need to plan the networks, the org differently. Good utilization of flow capability. Flows has many capabilities, as discussed at the beginning. They are richer and more enhanced than workflows and process builder, and simplify the implementation because of that. We will be able to scrap around the workaround. Once we start rely on flows, all the workaround that we build could be scrapped, could be deleted. And of course, the re-implementation will give you clear documentation of the automation landscape for people to join the organization, to learn it. Everything will be documented. People that will be onboarded and will join just after the work was done. Not only the founded generation will know what happened. Everybody that will know, everybody will document it, will know how we learn to organization and do it right with documentation and readable components. What we do with our customer is Any question, by the way, before I move on? What's the time? They took my 4:57. Okay, we have a 4-step approach that we work with our customers. Map, clean, implement, and test. We kind of talked about it, but it's a 4-step approach. It's important, very concise. We first take the org, we are mapping it, understand the existing automation. It's a full impact analysis review of the metadata dependency. We remove, we clean, we talked about remove only any unused automation, implement flow according to the best practices and the right architecture, and then we set the test, the validate the expected behavior. We set the right testing according to impacted object. No need to test everything, only to scope the test to what is needed. And we get into the right result. The map, as said, is just now, I'm going to give you a bit more about every step. The map is to list the automation as we discussed, related to the object in your org, understand the behavior of the expected results, because we see, when we have the map, we see what is impacting, how the workflow is behaving and what the flow is going to do. Learn which other component related to each automation. It's without a full automation, you can't do it yourself. It will take you 3 days to map how all workflow relate to which components. There are sometimes dependency with thousands of components. You learn it, and then you define and build the cases for your new automation. We have a tool, you get a full list that will tell you what to do, to delete, to scrap, to how to target it. It's doing that automatically. It gives you a full list of your automation and the right instruction how to move on. Clean. As said, we identified the automation and the technical debt, redundant automation, automation that doesn't impact. We make sure that automation doesn't impact any critical process. We see that we can map that with thousands of dependency, maybe more. And then we remove all the redundant automation or automation that have no use. Sometimes you see workflow that do nothing, that touch nothing, that you don't need that in your system. Remove it. We clean, then we implement. We define the target architecture and map each existing automation to target flow. And we create implementation user story for each target flow with all source automation, expected business behavior, and we list the test cases to validate. That's important. We know what we want from the flow, and accordingly we set the right testing. Everything, it's a build process. And of course, last step is testing. As we said, we test smart. We don't test everything. We test what need to be tested according to what was impacted from the change from workflow to flow. So we create valid test plan for the new flow automatically. We validate the right business outcome is maintained after the migration. So we make sure that what we plan to happen. We record, we have a recording tool. We record the entire process and the expected behavior for evidence and compliance. For evidence, because we want others to learn the process. For evidence, because we create from that recorded a very specific testing script, and that can be managed between multi-users. For compliance, because some compliance regulation requires that you will record these processes. Use the recording and documentation for training, for bug reporting, for all the compliance purposes. And of course, after testing, move the new tool for production. That's the process. Sounds easy, but it's all well built. It's a 4-step process that will take you holistically in more complex organization. It doesn't have to be for small one. In a more complex organization with more complex customer, we do that, and it's creating a lot of benefits. That's it. It was a long day. What I left to say is good luck and have a productive and safe migration. This is my details. I'm here to answer any of your questions. I think we are just on time. What's the time? 5? 3. 2 minutes before. So we have 2 minutes for questions. Yes? 1 minute. Yes. And I don't have any control over that. So maybe like 8 out of 10 automations will be done for me. And my concern is how that then fits in with the stuff that I put in. It just scares me. No. I will show you how in a split of a second we see we can scan. If we do a scanning of your metadata org, we can show you exactly where it goes. Graphically, you get a map of where those dependency goes and what is going to impact. So instead of trying to calculate manually how it's done, you need to do it automatically. And we can provide tools for that. That's what we do. Talk to you after that. Yes, please. It's a statement or a question? Not even Salesforce released the solution for that. Yeah. Once it's done, yeah. But I can check it out for you. I'm not that technical. If you want, you can now look at process builder and flow. You can't do it. You have to go on field as the process builder, go on where is it used, and click on the process, and it will open the process in flow builder. I mean, it looks ugly as hell, but you can have a look at it like that already. Okay.
How would you approach developers' view on flows where they are more, let's say, inclined to stick with code that they can review, debug the way that they always have been able to use, instead of flows, which is something that, to their experience, less manageable, less easy to update and things like that? How would you go about splitting what needs to be done in Apex and what needs to be done in Flow Builder?
As I said, I recommend to, if it's not a very simple org, I would recommend to scan the entire metadata. We give you by the object type. We differentiate between Apex and other, and you can see exactly where every route goes. So you don't have to think too much. You give science to do that for you.
It's more of, like, let's say, opinions of developers. Where do you say, like, yeah, keep your classes, keep your automation in your classes. We will do this in Flow and this in Apex. Where would you say? How would you be able to draw the line there? Like, are there things that you say, oh, this is better?
I need to show you the tool, then you understand it. So, sure. Yeah. I'll take your details and I'll send you. Yep. Thank you all. Thank you. Just on time. We need to go to. Thank you.